Okay, if you think or feel that you're confident in your understanding of the previous things that have been taught, right, then you're ready to move on. Okay, we're just going to be focusing on the core foundation of how we view the markets now, and we're going to start with, there's 4 things. We're going to start with the first one, okay, and that's going to be called fair value gaps, right? We call it an FVG. And essentially what it is a 3 candle pattern, right? For example, let me explain a little more, okay? Fair value gap consists of 3 candles, and the second one's generally a big body candle with a lot of momentum, okay? And the first and third candle wicks do not overlap, okay? For example, in a buy one, in a bullish fair value gap, right, we have the wick here and the wick here, and notice how they don't overlap, right? Meaning like they don't go down here and overlap each other, right? They leave a little gap for a box to be drawn. Okay, that's a fair value gap, and there's 2 names for it, but I just call it fair value gap, but for educational purposes we'll label it out. So this one's called the BISI, right? And what this means or stands for is it's a buy side imbalance with a selling inefficiency. Okay, and just like the name suggests, right, buy side imbalance because this gap represents that there were so many buyers, right, that there wasn't any sellers present, right? There wasn't any sellers present, so there's an inefficiency of sellers, right? So that's why price comes back down to rebalance that inefficiency, right? And if price doesn't close below a fair value gap, right, or it doesn't close in the opposite direction, right? So if we're bullish, right, we don't want to see it close below the fair value gap, right? That would be disrespecting it. So this one doesn't disrespect it, right? And it follows the trend, right? That's what it means, right? And in a bearish one, okay, it's called a SIBI. And if you haven't guessed yet, this is a selling imbalance or sell side imbalance. Doesn't really matter. Probably selling, not sell side, but I'll fix it. Selling balance with a buying inefficiency. Okay, fix this one too. Buying imbalance. Okay, and just like this one, right? There were so many sellers present. There was buying inefficiency here, so price comes back up to rebalance the inefficiency, and this is respecting it. Okay, a question you might have is, or you may have already noticed, right, there's a fair value gap down here that didn't get respected, right, because the body closed over it in the opposite direction. So we had a bearish gap, but we closed bullish, right? So this is a disrespect of a fair value gap, okay, and this is called an inversion. Okay, we call it an IFVG for short, right? And we can talk about this more later. Okay, so we have that. Okay.